Hi, everybody. Welcome to Behind the Scenes. And we are cognizant of it being Juneteenth, although that's not our topic, but we want to say, do we say happy Juneteenth? Kamira, is that an appropriate? Oh, you're on mute, Kamira. This is not
That's what I
Kamira.
keep. That's what I keep saying. So that's what we're going to say. Happy Juneteenth, everybody.
Okay, to everyone, happy Juneteenth. And our topic is not Juneteenth today, but our topic is, it's like the golden time of summer and what you can do with these hours that you have with your kids, which, for some people, it's very burdensome to have their kids home. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean that in a reality way, that it's a lot of downtime and a lot of worry time. But there's also opportunities during the summer that, we've all found, and mostly I would say focused on because other experts have told us that this is a good thing to do with our kids before they leave the home. So I'm going to start with the one that I felt like, some might argue not the best way to handle this, but boy, did it work. So I had a kid who would never pick up the phone and make a phone call, just like so afraid of, so much anxiety, and like, why do I have to do it? You do it so easily. Why can't you do it? And discussing the fact that one day they would have to make that phone call because I wouldn't be next to them, it just didn't matter. It didn't make sense. It was like, you're the mother, you make the call. And so I said, hey, I'm in the middle of doing something. Can you just take my phone and dial the number? And when you get them, give it to me. So they dial the number, they get the person answering, and they go like this to me. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm in the middle of this. Just see if you can make the appointment. And it worked. And the appointment was made. There was a very angry kid, very, very angry at the manipulation of that whole scenario. But it also broke through that terror of like building something so much bigger than it actually was. And so, if you disagree, totally understand it. Don't do it in your house. But it really worked for this kid. So I'm going to pass it on to Mindy, who's giggling already.
Thanks, Sue. Yeah, I am giggling. We all do things like that, I think. For me, the greatest teacher for my boys, three boys, was their summer jobs, because they had to be, all three of them were lifeguards at some point, and they had to be responsible. They had to learn through their work, and they started young. My kids started working, with permits at 15, teaching swimming lessons at 14, helping coach at 14. So I think for them, what taught them the skills was those jobs. They had to talk to someone who was older than them. They had to get to work on time. They had to get up on time. I would help, but if they didn't, there was very clear consequences that I didn't have to, or nor my husband have to have any part of. So I am a strong advocate of whether it's cutting people's lawns, they have to speak to the people. Working when they can. I just think the benefits are tremendous, and all those skills that they need. One of my boys was a camp counselor, so having to talk to parents. As a 16-year-old, a lifeguard kid having to go through training. So that, for me, I think if you need your kids to begin to learn certain soft skills, I can't advocate enough for getting them up and out, even if they start 1 or 2 days a week for a job. So, plus it takes the burden off us. We're not necessarily the bad guys. So Kamira, I'll pass it on down to you.
Mindy, that was really unfair because it's hard for everyone else now.
I'm done. I'm out now.
Yeah, you got the summer in a nutshell. That was great. How many people here agree that that is the best thing to do? Yeah. And Melissa would, but she doesn't know what we're talking about. Welcome, Melissa.
No,
We're talking about building soft skills in the summer, Melissa. And Mindy took summer jobs, which we all agree with, and I agree with. All of our boys have had summer jobs. And I agree with some of the stuff I know others are going to say. So I'm going to take a slightly different tack. It's one of the things that we do in the summer to build a soft skill of exploring interests that aren't necessarily your passion. I think that during the school year, families are really good about going hard in their kids' passion, if it's a sport or something like that. But if our kids expressed an interest in something, one summer it was learning about different religions. He had a friend that was a different religion. So we all talked to friends who were different religions and got books. We had somebody invite us to a mosque. We went to a temple. We did that during the summer. It was a whole thing during the summer. So I think the skill that he learned is an appreciation for differences, but also that if something interests me, it's up to me to figure out how to learn about it. I can't just wait to be spoon-fed information during the school year. We did the same thing with art another year with a son. Somebody told him about an artist and he didn't know, and he asked. So then we started studying the different artists, and then we would go to a museum and try to find one thing from that artist. And I have pictures of him taking pictures of the artist's painting in the museum and stuff. It was great. So it's a different take on soft skills, but I think it builds something. It builds a curiosity and a sense that you can fulfill your curiosity. You don't just have to wonder. You can do something about it. I'm going to send it over to Jen.
That's a great one, Kamira. I love that. And I wish we had done more of that, because then like our kids went to college and took, religion courses, and they were kind of like, did you know this? I never knew this. And almost like accusatory, like, how did you not teach us this? So they'll always find some loophole that you failed to fill in for their education. My favorite soft skill to help my kids develop during the summer is organization. And here's the secret. Nobody likes to organize their own crap, but it can be fun to organize somebody else's crap. So I would break it into like very small, discrete topics. And I would say, oh my gosh, the linen closet is just a complete mess. I've got a gift card lying around that I don't use. It's a Starbucks gift card. I'm happy to trade it for somebody who's willing to go in and organize that mess of a closet. Surprisingly, it really was appealing to one of my kids, at least. And like she would get in there, like just take everything out and then go through it. And our linen closet is also where we keep all of our medicines, by the way. So it's a dual purpose. All the first aid stuff. And she was going through and she was like, do we need this prescription medicine from before I was born? Like, no, we probably don't. But then we'd have to learn about like, how do you safely dispose of medications? And I think, guess what? There is a lockbox at the local police station. Let's collect all of the out-of-date medications and we'll take it together, and I'll show you how you put it in the lockbox in the lobby at the police station. So even if they can't drive or do some of those things that you would like them to do, or if they couldn't get a summer job for whatever reason, you could kind of create some of those opportunities in your home. And it's a win-win, because I got something done and off my list that I've never had time to do and didn't want to do. They learned some organization possibilities out of it. And also, I got rid of a gift card that was just lying around that was never going to get used. And that annoys me too. That's also like good budgeting, right? It's like you have money that's just lying in your house you're not using. I actually have a friend who organized a scavenger hunt for her kids. And she said, can you go around our house and find all the gift cards that we don't know if they even have any money on them, and go find out how much money is on each of these. Some of them you can do online, and some you have to go in person. And the payoff was you can keep whichever ones have money on them, or you can keep some of them, or, here, whatever it is, like create a spreadsheet and we'll figure it out as a family, who's going to use this one and who's going to use that one. So these are things you would never do during the school year because they're too busy. They have to go to school. They have to go to sports practice. They have to practice their instrument, which they're supposed to do in the summer too. I'm sure all your kids are practicing their instruments all summer. So I looked for those little, very small opportunities just to give them a little bit of something that I knew would give them that skill, but also paid off for me. That's my secret sauce. Eka, over to you.
Good morning. I have something like Kamira said. It's not it is a soft skill, but it's a lifelong skill. I know that our kids, when they're in school, read all the time. But I wanted them to love reading besides school. So I would do is we would I would look into books, YA books, and books, at their level that I thought they would be interested in, and we'd take library trips to get books. And I'd really encourage them, instead of playing on their phones, to pick up a book. So I would talk to the librarians beforehand, and then a lot of times to even get it started, I wouldn't even take them to the library. I'd come home with a stack of books, and I would leave them in the family room, and I'd be like, "These are for you guys. These are come recommended by the librarian." And so I really encourage downtime of reading, and now both of my girls are readers, which I'm really happy about. But I think a lot of times when you're reading all the time at school, you're killing the joy of reading. They're fried, they don't want to read anymore. And I really wanted them to be readers. And my one of my daughters, for the past probably 4 or 5 years, for Christmas has asked for a subscription to Book of the Month Club. Yay! I was really excited about that. So that's what I did. I figured it was a time for them to do enjoyable reading and not school reading. So I'm going to pass it up to my friend Sharon.
Hi, everybody. I'm a big fan of all of these ideas. And I think some of it is just, when your kids are home with you and you're spending more time, it can be an easy time to think, hey, does my kid know how to do this thing I'm doing right now? Or can I tell them what I'm doing so they know how to do it? But more fun than that is thinking about this as a theme. And I think that thinking about our summer travel can be a way to think about transferring soft skills. Like, if we're going on a trip, do they know how to pump the gas? Maybe that kid who's going to be driving soon and hasn't started can learn how to pump the gas when we're all together doing it anyway, or fill the tire. Do they know how to pack for themselves? Hopefully most teenagers know how to pack for themselves by this point. So Jen, shake your head no. What I do, at least 2 of my kids will say, give me a checklist. So they do all the packing. And I say, do you have this? Do you have that? Do you have this? And sometimes they'll tell me, you forgot to ask me about my contacts or whatever it might be. So I'm like, okay, I guess they're getting this by now. If they're telling me I'm not asking them the right things. Other things like, when you go to the rest stop and there's the bathrooms and then there's 5 different restaurants or whatever. Give them the credit card and let them go to their own thing and not only order their stuff, but they're like, but I don't know what to do with the card. And so quickly we tell them and they'll figure it out. So it's like a little bit of practice. You're right there and they get to make the purchase all on their own without you in earshot. And I know one other thing. My husband asked my kids, we're going to be traveling pretty soon. And he said, can you look up some fun things to do in the city and see what you want to do? And, kind of help with some of the research too. So, I think there's a million opportunities to give your kids these soft skills, but when we're doing some different things in the summer and we're spending so much time together, I think it's an extra fun time to do some of this stuff. Melissa, I'm sending it down to you.
So I'm loving all these answers and I'm just thinking about my life with my kids and I don't know, these soft skills I kind of do all year round. It's not just a summer thing, so it's hard to really think about what in particular we do in the summer, but I think when my kids were younger, they were really, really busy at school. They had intense schedules during the school year, so we really took the summer off. It was a time to just enjoy our time together, do some bonding, and I'm probably going to get some flack for this, but we've been playing this computer game for, it feels like decades now. It can't be decades because they're not that old, but it's been a very long time. It's called Wizard 101. It's rated G. And it just teaches these team building skills and strategy and math. And no one really dies in this. And it's storytelling. And we played that for years and years and years. We would go on quests together, and they learned how to portion their money, like how much they could spend in different sections. I found it taught a lot of skills in a virtual environment, and it was so different from what they were doing during the school year, because they're not really gamers, except for this one, Sesame Street version of whatever's out there. But we love it. And
Melissa, what's the name of the game again?
it's called Wizard 101.
Jessica
I saw
definitely
that
knows about
Jessica
this because she's
smiling.
cracking up.
Yeah, Jessica knows it.
Yeah. So my older daughter, she's like 22 now, and she's, I think, in a Discord group with people who play this game that are around her age. And like people who've grown up. I think she's probably messaging me right now because she's home. She's probably listening, like, why are you talking about me? But anyway, it's just something fun, and we really bonded over it. And I don't know if you can find an activity that your kids are interested in, that you think you might be interested in, and just sort of get into it with them. I think it's a really good way to build connections with your kids and have them talk to you about maybe things that they wouldn't normally. It's just another way in.
Melissa, I know Jess has something to say about this, so I'm going to jump in real quick and say,
And I'm going to pass it to Jess.
my husband and my daughter in the summer, they enjoy playing Mortal Kombat together, and it is their bonding time. And I think it actually does build manual dexterity, because we call them nimble elf fingers. She can do any little of those fussy things. And I think it really boosts her self-confidence, because she can just wipe the floor with him on this game. So I don't think there's anything wrong with that at all. Jessica.
Yeah, I mean, as a gamer, I certainly approve, but that was not what I was going to talk about. What mine was, and I mean, I've talked about this plenty of times here, but I think that we started doing cooking, me and my dad, when I was or during the summer, because during the school year it's hard to do that kind of stuff when you school every single day, and then you're a teenager, you want to spend every waking moment with your friends instead of your family. So when summer started and there was enough time for me to do that stuff with my friends and then also with my family, I think we started doing soup Sundays, where every Sunday we'd make like a big thing of soup, and then we'd have some leftovers for a few days afterwards and be able to freeze whatever. And that stuck with me. We started doing soup Sundays non-summer too, just starting in the summer because that was when I had the most time, and then just kind of, I love cooking so much that we started doing it even during the school year. So I don't know. I feel like when your kid has a little bit more time to spend time with their friends that's not in a school environment, then they have more time for, some of the other fun stuff, and maybe they'll stick with it over the school year.
Jessica, just to interrupt along that point, my youngest son makes amazing chocolate chip cookies because, and I know you're not supposed eat the batter. We always eat the batter, but because he loved making chocolate chip, he loved eating the batter, as did I. And that's something we would do. And to this day, he still makes amazing and loves to make them. So that's a great point. Can we, I think it's so cool that we have someone watching from Africa. And I'm just wondering what it's like. What is the time? I don't know. I just thought Livingston, I believe it's kind of a cool, wonder if she'd comment on how's the
Watching
weather.
live in Africa. Thanks, Mindy, for pointing that out. So if Livingston comes back on with a comment, we'll share it with you. And I want to give you one of my biggest frustrations in the summer was the amount of clothing kids went through. Putting on the bathing suit, taking off the outfit before the bathing suit, and then putting on a new outfit after the bathing suit. And I was being driven insane. And so summer was the time when I gave each kid a laundry basket, color-coded. Each one had their own laundry basket. Some of them were older, some of them were younger, and they all managed to do their own laundry. And I had no idea how much I was going to reap from that. Like, it was so much off of my plate, but also they learned to do laundry. Like, it was just a dream. So if you hate it, I highly recommend handing everybody a laundry basket. In some ways, they liked the control over their own clothes and their own systems. And you know, I now, when I do laundry for them, if they come home and they ask, now it's a sign of love instead of like this bitterness inside me about having to do laundry one more time. So Livingston did not come back on, but we say hi to you from Africa. We wish everybody a great week, and we will see you next Monday.